Here we go. Former UFC and Bellator lightweight champion Eddie Alvarez has signed with one championship. Was that the right move, or should he have stayed put or gone somewhere else? So, guys, I want you to ask, and just answer this as media/fan, and here are your choices. No, signing with one championship. The other one was stayed with the UFC. The next one is return to Bellator. And then the last one would be sign with PFL. Dan, Tom, what do you think of this?
If I had to vote for one, it's tough. He's kind of done it all, and you don't want to. We demonize it. He's doing it for the money. He's doing it for the money, and I'm against that, especially a guy in Eddie Alvarez's situation. But then again, if he did go to a PFL, I think it would be just for that run, and that's it. But the fact that he signed with an actual organization, tells me that he does still have that competitive fire as far as, still wanting to put on shows and not just some type of one-and-done deal, pardon the pun there. It's a multi-fight deal, so you know what? It might not be the most popular. I mean, selfishly, we want to see everybody in the same home, the same place, duking it out. But, man, if you've been following Eddie Alvarez, he's been doing that for a decade already. So I got no issues. Because I have no issue, you can go ahead and throw me into the one category there.
Goes?
He's got a UFC belt. He's got a Bellator belt. If he went to Bellator, which would have been my second choice, I'm assuming they would match him up against Michael Chandler. And if you lose that, now what? Doesn't really make much sense. So I think one championship was probably perfect for him. And I think they gave him a lot of money, which is what a fighter at the end of the last run of their career probably is looking to do.
Let me challenge both of you, though.
Okay.
All right, one championship, let's just say they are giving some money. But we've also heard the same about Bellator. They're also paying some money. You're right. He fights Chandler, and if he loses, there's not many choices. You are correct. But at one championship, is there many choices there? They got that Ed Fulayang or whatever his name is.
But he hasn't reached
and
the
they have
pinnacle
Shin Aoki. So you're saying,
he has
the
a
belt?
He has two belts
to
already
add
here.
to the resume?
Add one more. Okay,
because I was going to say there's not as many challenges there either.
Yeah.
And I think Bellator may have cost themselves by not stacking up a lightweight division for an Eddie Alvarez to return. It's just Primus, Chandler, and then there's like 5 other guys, that are hanging in there, but they just haven't caught any traction. So you have to mark Bellator off. I would have stayed with the UFC. He was very competitive in the Poirier fight. He was very competitive in the Cerrone fight.
Very true.
I think he won the first round. He was even competitive in – well, there was 2 Poirier fights, just to be clear. He beat Justin Gaethje. He beat Dosanjh. I mean, and Pettis. I feel like he was still within a fight or two. 2, if he just went the proper fight bookings, and 1 of fighting for a world title. 1, if he beat a high-profile name, and all he does is fight high-profile names, and is in the right position, maybe if someone falls out, to fight again for the title. I feel like he made it to the big leagues. Why not stay there and compete? A second UFC lightweight title would impress me more than adding the one championship to his Bellator and UFC title.
I'll concede that. Let me just add one more thing.
Sure.
There's not many people that anybody could pick to beat Khabib Nurmagomedov, who is the current UFC lightweight champion. But I will say, I think Eddie Alvarez has to be one of those names of guys best suited. I would say him, Tony Ferguson, and maybe like a Justin Gaethje, who has really underrated defensive wrestling or something like that.
I would say Lee, Gaethje, and Ferguson, but Alvarez, I don't know that he stops. Maybe.
Lee's up there.
He
for
wrestled
me
Chandler pretty
as
good
well
in the second fight.
Yeah, he's got. I mean,
Maybe.
Chandler is a literal bull in a china shop as far as explosive wrestlers, and obviously Chandler has his own opinions. But just to throw that out there for devil's advocate, I want to throw that in there.
There you have it. There's our daily debate for today. Good stuff, guys. 37% agreed with you and goes.
Okay.
31% said stay with the UFC. 29% said return to Bellator.
Wow. Okay.
Maybe it's not a bad choice because if you match him up against the winner of Chandler and Primus, or maybe it's just Chandler regardless of how Chandler does versus Primus, that does still give Bellator about a 9-month window to sign somebody, sign 1 or 2 free agents, where you could then throw Alvarez into those types of matchups. So to be fair, maybe right now it wasn't as appealing. Maybe in a year it comes that way, but who knows? Yeah. And last place was signed with PFL, and I think that would be more attractive had he not banked all that dough with Conor McGregor, because that was such a huge fight where he made millions. He's already got the 7 figures in the bank, and that's what PFL is all about, is that the lure of those that those are for the fighters that either are too young or had their chance elsewhere, and now they're looking for another chance. So I think that's why I know why they came in last place there at 3%. Almost, let me see, 1,843 of you voted. Thank you very much for participating, Junkie Nation.